Hey guys, Escape98 here, and today I wanted to make a video reviewing Creature Commandos because I really enjoyed the series more than I was expecting. Something new about me: I am not the biggest superhero fan in general. I think the genre is a little boring, but considering my favorite superhero movie is Deadpool and Wolverine, mainly because it's funny. It makes sense that this would be my favorite superhero show. So without further ado, let's get into the episodes. I'll be talking about my general thoughts of the episode, and then giving it something out of 10, and then at the end I'll give you all the scores added up. So let's get into episode 1. So episode 1 was probably, out of a lot of shows I've seen, pretty good, and that's decent praise considering episode 1 is usually the weakest episode of pretty much every show. I think this did a great job setting up what the show's going to be about, and I immediately had a favorite character, Nina, which I'm sure nothing bad will happen to her. Absolutely nothing at all. But yeah, I think it did a good job at setting up the character dynamics, and also I think it did a good job and did a really good job giving way into episode 2. Overall, I'm gonna give it a solid 8.2 out of 10, which for a first episode is pretty good. So, episode 2, the Tourmaline Necklace. Sorry if I butchered that. The bride probably has the most fucked up backstory next to another character in that will be covered later. I never thought it was possible to simultaneously commit the crimes necrophilia, pedophilia, and incest simultaneously, but here's Dr. Frankenstein managing to do it. And I mean, yeah, I'm not. And apparently, Frankenstein's monster, Eric, is literally been simping for a woman for 3 centuries, which is definitely interesting. I like how this episode set up the chemistry between the bride and Nina. I think Rick Flag and Dr. Phosphorus highlight joke of this episode was Dr. Phosphorus literally waiting for literally telling the guard to wait until he was done doing the deed with the princess. So overall, I'm gonna give this episode a 9.2 out of 10. It gave a good backstory for the bride and ended on a very funny note. So, episode 3, Cheers to the Tin Man. G.I. Robot was already my third favorite character, but definitely after this episode, he still is my third favorite. But damn, I never thought I'd feel bad for a robot, but like, I was not expecting to feel bad for a robot, but somehow I managed to. It really shows how bad the justice system in DC is. Like, this show does a great job at that, and I always joked around before I watched this show that, I guess the police can't do their job well enough for to the point they need vigilantes and literal gods to do things for them. But I guess that was less of a joke now that I watch the show, because my god, are they awful at their jobs. Besides that, it's funny. It's pretty weird that G.I. Robot pretty much single-handedly won World War II. I also like G.I. Robot's friendship with Nina being addressed more in this episode, especially considering how it ends. I really like the way it showed how G.I. Robot was only following his programming, because I doubt his friend in the flashback, Sam, was really a bad guy, but because of his programming, G.I. Robot was only able to see him as a certain soldier from the 1940s. But in the end, when he's dying and Nina stays with him, it was very, very sweet and nice to hear him say before he died, air quotes, cheers to the Tin Man. Overall, I'm going to give this episode, I think it definitely deserves to be the first 10 out of 10. Episode 4, Chasing Squirrels. I like how Weasel literally did nothing wrong besides be a glorified dog, and the actual villain of, like, his origin story are the fucking dumbass trigger-happy cops who, decided to shoot at the thing holding the kid that they weren't sure was dead or not, so for all they knew, they could have shot the kid. But yeah, it really shows why the government just, again, hammering home why superheroes exist in DC. But yeah, I like how it set up it uses the little girl as a way to set up future plot points, and I'm just gonna say it, Rick Flag is really thinking with his dick throughout this entire series. Like, you hear that someone can see the future, yet you're too down bad to realize, maybe just let this happen. Just gonna say that right now. Overall, this episode, mainly because of Weasel, is a massive 10 out of 10. And I think it definitely deserves a 10 out of 10 as well. So, episode 5, The Iron Pots. This episode starts off with going off of how the last episode ended, with the team up between who I'm going to go forward calling Dick Flag and Eric. And I like their dynamic, how they're both just so dumb bad that for one person that they cannot use logic and reasoning. And also, I did not expect Eric to call me out for not watching the Titanic. So what? I didn't want to watch it anyway. I also like how, we're not supposed to feel bad for Eric. It's definitely a good contrast with, like, some of the other characters' origin stories in the show. And I really like the fight scene at the end of the episode, how it's type of fight scene I like seeing, like how it switches between two different fights. I enjoyed seeing the fight, how Dick Flag got baned by Clayface, and also I think easily the best kill in the entire show was done by the GOAT, Dr. Phosphorus, where he middle fingered through an entire tank. The one thing I have to say is, why did Alexei think it was a good idea letting the flaming skeleton sit behind him? 'Cause, like, yeah, he doesn't know what's fully going on, But when he got that phone call, you would think you'd at least ask him to switch seats with Weasel. But jokes aside, this episode is easily a 9 out of 10. Purely because of the fight scene. The rest of the episode is really good in adding on to, like, the overall plot. And I like how it was a change of pace, giving Eric a backstory that makes us not sympathize for him. Overall, it was a good episode. Okay, episode 6, Priyatel Skelet. I definitely butchered the pronunciation of that, but whatever. Dr. Phosphorus was already my second favorite character, but damn, does he have, like, probably, like, the second best reason to become a villain. Yeah, wow, you try and make the cure for cancer and, end up getting, your entire family killed. That's, I usually don't agree with murder, but, he's a little justified in that. Not very, but a little bit. And I like the fact that the guy who ruined his life, he ended up taking over his. I also like how throughout the episode it made you question whether the kid was going to die or not, and that Dr. Foster was going to kill him. But yeah, I like that part of the episode a lot.
It looks like I'm smiling too. But I'm not.
That line went so hard. I also really liked the B-plot of the episode, which was the bride and Nina's part where they were hiding with a bunch of strippers. It was definitely out of nowhere that's where they ended up, but hey, listen, it was out of nowhere in the best way possible. I also really like seeing how different Nina and the bride approach situations, Nina being nice and friendly, while the bride is extremely aggressive throughout the whole thing. And in the end, when the bride finally admitted that Nina and her friends was pretty good, it was some good moments between the two of them. Weasel really didn't do much besides his setup for the finale, so I don't think he really was too important, but overall, it's another solid 10 out of 10. Dr. Phosphorus was already my third favorite, and he is definitely... He has my third favorite backstory, and he's now definitely my second favorite character out of all the creature commandos. But yeah. Season finale, episode 7, A Very Funny Monster. This was a great finale, and I enjoyed it throughout, but bro, fuck Weasel. If he just stayed where he was, Nina would not have died. And, like, you can say, oh, the bride could just have shot the princess, or Dr. Phosphorus could have just burned her to a crisp. Like, there are a lot of things he said, but I think the episode did a good job setting this up when I rewatched it, because I would have agreed with that if I didn't rewatch it and realize the reason why the princess decided to swim in the first place. It's because she knew that they'd probably send the one member whose thing is being able to breathe underwater to assassinate her. That being said, the fact that really Nina's only power is to breathe underwater the element of surprise is really all she had, and when she lost that, it was kind of game over for her. But yeah, I think overall this was, and I think I really liked how the way the other characters reacted. Weasel didn't have much reaction because in his dog-like mind, he just saved that kid from his flashback episode. Even though you can't tell what Dr. Phosphorus, considering his face doesn't move, so they have to be like a little more. Which I like about him is that you have to like actually pay attention to know what he's like, trying to understand what emotion he's showing. But it's pretty clear that he's upset about Nina dying. And I think that's also somewhat to do with like coming off of like kind of remembering that part of himself who at one point was human, but now just really became. And I think he was also being sarcastic, because I think he does care about Nina, given how that he explicitly called Weasel out for being treated like a hero after killing Nina. So I think he did care to an extent. Also, I like the bride's reaction, because it really did a good job at showing their friendship. Also, I like how she was able to put all the pieces together in the end and figure out what was actually going on.
But I want you to know, I'm not going to kill you because you're going to cause World War III. And I'm not doing it to save the world. I mean, after all, what has this ball of dirt ever done for me? No, Ilana, I'm killing you because you took the life of the only friend I have. And the only one of us with an ounce of kindness in her veins.
And I really like that's why the bride ended up killing the princess, not because she really cares about anyone else, but because she ended up killing her. I think that did like a good job, and that monologue went hard. I'm glad she killed her, definitely deserved. And I also really like the setup for season 2. Overall, this episode is a definitive 10 out of 10. One of the best season finales I have ever seen. Overall, in total, this show, if I count like a 10 out of 10 for each episode, it would be a 66.4 out of 70. I really enjoyed this show. And while it had a few flaws here and there, I won't deny that. I still really enjoyed it. It was a funny action superhero cartoon, and honestly, what else can you ask for? It definitely was a good start to James Gunn's new DCU project going on, and I'm excited to see. It definitely got me interested to see the second season of Creature Commandos and whatever comes next. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm sorry if I did not do the best job at making things coherent, but I hope you all enjoyed, and a like would be appreciated, and obviously you do not have to, but if you could be possibly subscribed, that would be very nice. I appreciate that. Anyway, have a very good day, night, or afternoon, whatever time it is for you right now.